What's up, everyone? It's Q from Retro Q Gaming, and here's a nice, interesting video, if I do say so myself. So, I've noticed a couple of things over the past few weeks. I say, let's go about 2-3 weeks. And we all know website Eurogamer, who are basically, have always pretty much been so far up their own arse that they'll promote about 10 different articles in the space of the smallest article. But on top of all that, I've been reached out to by a number of people. I won't give any specifics, and I won't give any names or details or anything like that, but I will talk about it in a bit of a vague aspect. So, as well as being contacted by a number of people with the same issue that I've been having myself, and that issue I'll get to know in a second, is that it basically, if you ask me, kind of confirms what a lot of people have been saying about Eurogamer for the last 3 or so years. So the general perception on the internet is that Eurogamer and most of the staff at Eurogamer are Sony fanboys. Now, there's a lot of, it's mostly anecdotal, but when you look around and when you see it, when you read something about it, over time you can kind of understand where these people are coming from. You may not agree with the whole Sony bias, but you can understand why people would think that. Personally, I very much so think there's Sony bias. It's been apparent as fuck for a long time. And yeah, so like I said, over the course of the last few weeks, myself and a number of people who have reached out to me have had dozens upon dozens of their, what I can only describe as anti-Sony comments deleted, hidden, or what I can only call removed. Now, I want to put this into perspective, okay? Roughly about 80%. I went through the numbers earlier today, and it escapes me the exact one right now, but it's roughly 80%. I think it's like 82, 83, give or take, of these comments that were deleted or removed or hidden are, they're obviously all anti-Sony. Now, they're not, when I say they're anti-Sony, about 80% of these are very well constructed, good points based on some of the actual comments that they're replying to, or the article that they're replying to. So a lot of these are well constructed, good, put together points. They're not just people going, oh, fuck Sony, Sony shit, Eurogamer shit, fuck shit ass bitch. They're not doing that crap. There's about like a 15-ish% of the overall amount of comments that have been forwarded on to myself that are like that, but about 80-odd% are not. They're very well constructed, they're very well put together. But Eurogamer, being, in my opinion, the Sony biased institute that they are, has been hiding or deleting these. Now, how do you notice? How do you find this out? Well, usually what happens is when you reply to someone, this is one of the several ways I'll go over now in a second. When you reply to someone on Eurogamer, you will get a notification on the Eurogamer website, and you will get an email to tell you about that. Many of these people have received emails from other users that they have replied to. So they would reply to someone. That person would not be able to see the comment. And then they would message them back, saying, hey, your comment isn't showing up, but what was the deal? What was the point? So that kind of stuff. As well, there's a few other aspects that make me believe that they're doing this as well. Obviously, it's not 100% concrete, but I believe they're doing it, and I feel like this is the evidence. So, of course, when you look at the main page of Eurogamer, and you look at, without clicking into anything, you look at an article. Don't actually go into the article, but it will show you on the main page how many comments are in said article, or underneath said article. So let's just say I looked at an article a few minutes ago, posted 2 comments on it, mind you. Okay, went back out, gave it a few minutes, change browser, all the usual. I'll get into the exact steps of what I did in a few minutes, but yeah. So I looked at the actual comment tally, if you will, from the main page. It said that there were 8 comments. I posted 2 comments. It said there were 8 comments. Now you may be wondering, so what's the big deal? There's 6 other comments and the 2 of yours. That's not the case. When I went back in, and anyone else could go back in, and they would see on the main page that there are 8 comments, and when you would click in and scroll down, neither of my 2 comments were actually there. Keep in mind, I've been commenting on Eurogamer articles for well over 2 or 3 years now at this point, including have actually leaked them some big information that they ran with and got a significant amount of press. I won't go into detail what it is, but hint hint, you'll find it on my channel, and I say that I've done it in there. But yeah, you get the idea. So, what I decided to do was I closed my browser. I opened up the same browser in incognito mode. Went, had a look. Still says there's 8 comments, none of which are mine. So there was 8 comments, none of which were mine. So technically, there should have been 10 comments. Went into, I said I went into it with incognito mode. So obviously I was not logged in incognito mode. Closed my browser. Decided to VPN in incognito mode from across the world to Eurogamer. What happens? Same deal. I'm in incognito mode. I'm not logged in. 8 comments, none of which are mine. So, I decided to go back and look through a bunch of my other articles that I feel that this had possibly happened in because of the same style of comments I'd made. Keep in mind, all the comments I made, except for one of these comments. One of these comments I was just pissed off with, and I had like a quick one sentence fit, if you will. It was like a 10-word pissed offness, but all these other comments were pretty well constructed and were pretty solid, if you ask me. They weren't extremely derogatory, they weren't offensive, they weren't flaming, they weren't trolling, they weren't anything. But they did not agree with a lot of Sony stuff. So, I mean, this is all putting together. Anyway, I'm back to what I was saying. I VPN'd in incognito mode from across the world. Not logged in. Same deal. Change browser. Repeated all the steps I've just done. Both logged in and not logged in. And not logged in incognito mode. And not logged in incognito mode from a VPN. A different VPN than the previous one I'd used. So that's 2 browsers. Roughly 8 or 9 times. And it hadn't happened. They're all disappearing. And not only all of those, but I've also had 3 different people from across various different parts of the world use the same type of process that I've used to check. I told them, they know my username. I told them exactly what to look for, where to look for it. I gave them 1 or 2 other examples of other people who have reached out to me with the same issues happening. And they just said, nope, they cannot find any of these comments in any way, shape, or form. So what does that tell you? I mean, it's pretty much a given at that point. And like I said, I went back and checked a bunch of other articles with the same deal, and this same thing had been happening to me for roughly 2 weeks. So at that point, I still had access to all the other information and the other tips and the other examples that people have given me. Now, the comments are technically still there, because if I go into my profile on the Eurogamer website and then I check my comment history and I click on the comments I've made, and then it takes me to the article and I scroll down, they're there. But if you go in any other way, shape, or form, even with different browsers, not logged in incognito mode from VPN across the world, yeah, they're not there. That's awful convenient. And one thing I've noticed about all these comments and all these people that have reached out to me is that every single one of these comments, I won't say exactly how many there were, but like I said, there's a decent amount of them, enough to be worthy of making a video. All of these comments were talking about Sony in a negative light. And remember, a lot of them were very well purposed, well put together, and made a lot of valid points. Not all of them, but a lot of them. So I think it's pretty funny, and it's dodgy as shit, if you ask me. So what does this mean? Well, basically, Eurogamer, if this is true, now, for all we know, maybe their website could just be a piece of shit. I mean, they are UK based, which is many issues within itself. But when you look at a website deleting what I'll only call anti-Sony comments, what does that say about the website? What does that say about the people who work for the website? What does that say about the people in charge who employ these people, who have probably these directives set in place for all we know? Probably unofficially, probably could be officially, who knows? Can you trust a lot of their stuff? And I'll give you one other perfect example at the same time as well. You look at all Eurogamer's coverage of The Last Guardian over the last few days. Many places throughout the internet have been slating a lot of stuff for it. Between the performance, between the actual camera, the controls, a lot of the AI, a lot of the puzzles, the gameplay. Eurogamer given essential just because of what it is. Highly hyped, massively delayed, high profile, Sony exclusive. You can make your own choice up on there. But anyway, the main point is, what does this say about the website and the priorities they have? If they're basically censoring anti-Sony stuff, can you trust anything they say? Personally, I'd say fuck them. I don't believe a shit. But I haven't believed a lot that they've said as it was. It will mostly just be, kind of whatever way you want to look at it. It'd be like, here's a bit of an interesting news article. Let's see if I can get some unbiased opinion elsewhere, or some proper solid reporting that doesn't just involve them trying to sell you something or plug 10 of their own articles in one paragraph. But you get the idea. So that's, I think it calls into their credibility completely. Now, at the same time, we all know my outlook on games journalism and the fact that it's a fucking joke. I think this reinforces that, if you ask me. So anyway, let me know what you think about this kind of bullshit, not just on Eurogamer, but on any type of website, anywhere. Let me know what your opinions and all on, say, censorship and that kind of shit is. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, you can follow me on Twitter, details in the description below. Thank you for watching, I will see you in the rest of the videos in my channel. It's going to be curious to see if Eurogamer probably avoid this topic in the unlikely chance they ever see it, but it'd be interesting if they ever do.